please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Prime Minister Modi teared into the previous UPA government when he addressed the industry body FICCI and accused it of pushing India into, and I quote, the dark ages. As part of his attack of the UPA government, the Prime Minister blamed it for bad loan crisis. He also slammed the Congress for the 2G and the Commonwealth Games scams. But the Prime Minister's attack was not restricted to the Congress and the earlier government. Even India Inc. came under attack and ended with the Prime Minister imploring the industry, especially restaurants, to pass on the benefits of the GST to consumers.
कुछ बड़े-बड़े उद्योगपतियों को लाखों करोड़ों के लोन दिए गए, बैंकों पर दबाव डाल करके पैसा दिलवाया गया। ये आजकल नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स एनपीए का जो हल्ला मच रहा है, वो पहले की सरकार में बैठे अर्थशास्त्रियों की इस सरकार को दी गई सबसे बड़ी लायबिलिटी। मध्यम वर्ग पीस रहा था, जिनकी भर की कमाई बिल्डर को देने के बाद भी उसे घर नहीं मिल रहे थे और फिर भी कोई ठोस कदम नहीं उठाए जा रहे थे। क्यों? रेरा आरईआरए जैसे कानून पहले भी तो बनाए जा सकते थे, लेकिन नहीं बने। मध्यम वर्ग की इस दिक्कत को इस सरकार ने ही समझा और कानून बना करके बिल्डरों की मनमानी पर रोक लगाई है। आप देखेंगे कि सरकार देश के नौजवानों की जरूरतों को ध्यान में रखते हुए किस प्रकार से फैसले ले रही है, योजनाएं बना रही है। इसका बिल्कुल कॉन्ट्रास्ट आपको पिछली सरकार में देखने को मिलेगा। बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों में एमएसएमई के पैसे बहुत लंबे अरसे तक ड्यू रहते हैं। वो समय पर चुकाए जा सकते हैं क्या? क्या इसके लिए आप कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या? छोटा उद्यमी अपने पैसे जो हक्के हैं वो भी बड़ी कंपनियों से मांगने में हिचकिचाता है। उसकी इस चिंता को, इस समस्या को दूर करने के लिए भी फिक्की जैसी संस्थाओं की तरफ से आग्रहपूर्वक प्रयास होगा तो इकोनॉमी को एक बहुत अच्छी नई गति मिलेगी। टैक्स भले कम हुआ हो, लेकिन कुछ रेस्टोरेंट वाले मूल लागत को बढ़ाकर फिर हिसाब के खिलाफ ठीक छक्का करके वैसे ही बिल पकड़ा रहे थे। यानी ग्राहक तक वो फायदा पहुंचा नहीं, उसको जो पहुंचाना था नहीं पहुंचा रहा था। ऐसी स्थिति से निपटने के लिए सरकार अपनी तरफ से कोशिश कर रही है।
And as the Prime Minister held a former UPA government responsible for the current NPA mess, here's what the top industry leaders had to say about the government's effort to clean up the bad loans.
Why NPAs occur, one has to go into those reasons also. I mean, what all the industry has faced, and those industries, they'll be able to, industries which have actually become NPAs, they'll be able to better answer this, that what are the challenges that they faced because of which they have turned NPAs.
We have got off to a pretty slow start, as in these problems have been looming for the last 3 to 4 years, and it really is for us to ensure that the workout of these loans happens in a way that does not kill industry. We need industry, we need it to survive, we need those jobs to survive, but we also need our banks to survive. So that workout is going to be key, and the next couple of years are going to be very important for that.
There was a cultural part of it which is government has changed, because that culture has now undergone a change. That culture of, banks and industrialists being comfortable with each other and all, rather than making very hard decisions on what is a good project and what is not a good project. I think that change has been very clear, because when it is communicated from the top, from the Prime Minister himself, the system will change.
Definitely this will address the issue, because this has been going on for such a long time. A lot of money has been invested and remaining unproductive. So I think this will ultimately end the whole NPA issue. It's going to be a challenge that there will be haircut happening in the process, and this haircut would impact the bank's balance sheet. So that's going to be a challenge, but I believe that that's the only way we can see the progress going forward.
The Prime Minister was very emphatic that they are trying to resolve the banking issues. You know, the banks have been recapitalized, NPAs are being talked about, and now, of course, the process is on. So I'm sure the government is seized of that in future this does not happen. We are seeing some cases already being there and some to be yet to come across. So we'll have to see. At least the process is in place.
All right then, let's move on to the big political story, the second phase of Gujarat elections that begins today. Remember, the final voter turnout in the first phase stood at a high 66.75%. So let's take a look at what all is stake here in the second phase. 93 out of 182 seats will go to polls today. In 2012, the BJP had won 52 out of that, while 39 seats went to the Congress. 851 candidates in the fray.
Well, remember, the North and Central Gujarat will go to polls. In North Gujarat, the BJP faces a challenge because of the protest by Hardik Patel against the party. Now, remember, historically, the region also has been a stronghold of Congress. Will the newly inducted leader Alpesh Thakur help consolidate votes is something to be keenly watched out for. The key question, however, is can BJP hope to gain from Shankar Singh Waghela's defection from the Congress?
The big BJP faces in the fray are Deputy Chief Minister Nitin Patel and Home Minister Pradeep Singh Jadeja. Alpesh Thakur is the Congress face here, and independent Dalit leader Jignesh Mevani is also in the fray. Alright then, remember yesterday Rahul Gandhi sat down with Network 18's Pallavi Ghosh for an exclusive interview. Soon after the interview went on air, the BJP moved the Election Commission complaining that this is a violation of the Model Code of Conduct. The Election Commission has put out an order asking us, which is Network 18, to stop playing this interview. We've been advised by our lawyers to not air this interview as well, and we're sticking to that. The Election Commission has issued a notice to Rahul Gandhi for alleged violation of the Model Code of Conduct, and the EC has questioned him for making comments about the Gujarat elections due today in TV interviews when the Model Code of Conduct is in force. Rahul Gandhi has been told to respond by 5 p.m. on December 18th. This is the day the Gujarat verdict will also be out.
Well, on to some important market opinion then. We spoke to market veteran Sameer Arora on how he thinks the Gujarat election will impact the markets come December 18. Here's an excerpt of that conversation.
As bullish on some stocks, bearish on some other, and so the end result is neutralish for me. Neutralish for us means when we revert to a 60% type net and waiting for what happens next. It's actually not a bad outcome, because you can say that after 22 years you won again and elections are tough and things like that. So in the end, I also think that actually if you look at it for 2019, it doesn't matter to the market that whether the wins are 300 at that time instead of 280. What if they're 250, 240? In the past we've had with 160 a PM, and so as long as the BJP and Mr. Modi is there, how will it matter actually if it is 20, 30 seats less, let's say? So that's why I think that there's no need to draw massive conclusions if it is a victory of some. In a big picture sense, why is a small company going up so much? Because they think that the big company is expensive. So if the market continues to go up, it's possible that the small company will go up more. You know, they're not cheaper. I mean, they're not cheaper, but their growth is higher.
All right, let's move on then. The deadline for lenders to resolve the default cases in the RBI's second list ended yesterday. We understand that 22 out of 28 companies will go to the NCLT. Lata's here with more details. Lata, what happens now?
Well, we are just piecing together information, and Ritu Singh, my colleague, already reported yesterday that 4 companies probably have been resolved, and those are Soma Enterprises, Built, that's Balarpur Industries, the original Built, Anarak Aluminum, where again there were two opinions on Anarak Aluminum, and Jaiswal Nico. Again, there were two opinions on Jaiswal Nico as well, with some people saying that it is still being tried. But it looks like these four are the maximum that could escape going to NCLT. There were a lot of people who were telling us that Videocon and JP Associates, is something which bankers are pushing very hard to keep away from the NCLT, and that they've written to RBI. RBI told me they received nothing. They are not going to extend anything as of their concern. The day is done, the deadline is over, and whatever has not been resolved goes to NCLT. So I am a little unsure about this Videocon JPA being kept out of NCLT. RBI said they haven't even received the request. So we will have to wait and see. These four look more likely have been resolved. These two look much, much, much less likely. But these are the 6 names doing the rounds.
Okay, so let's see whether those 2 names make it to the NCLT or not. But moving on to the all-important Aadhaar linkage case, the government yesterday extended the deadline to link bank accounts to Aadhaar to the 31st of March. The Supreme Court will resume hearing the Aadhaar case today. Ashpreet Sethi joins us with all the details. Ashpreet, over to you.
Well, it's a crucial day as far as Supreme Court is concerned. 5 judges will be sitting to hear pleas or challenges as far as the government's move of going ahead and linking Aadhaar to basic issues are concerned, like your bank accounts, mobile numbers and others. In fact, all these pleas have been saying that it infringes on right to privacy. Remember, the Supreme Court had given an order in August saying that right to privacy is a fundamental right, after which these pleas were filed saying that it violates the very right of privacy that has been upheld by the apex court. We'll have to wait and see what happens today, because the main issue that will be discussed is that whether these linkages are done in a proper manner or not. Because remember, the government earlier had given an order or a notification saying that if by December 31st your bank accounts are not linked to Aadhaar, they will be made inoperative. However, they have gone ahead and changed this notification and said that there will be no action taken and all these banks' accounts will exist. So we'll have to wait and see what stance will the government take in the Supreme Court in front of the 5 judges, which will be led by the Chief Justice of India.
Let's head straight across to Manisha Gupta, who's standing by to tell us what is happening in the world of commodities. Manisha, good morning. Over to you.
Thanks so much for that. Well, the major cues, of course, coming in from the US Fed meeting yesterday, where 25 basis points was factored in. But the whole thing that the US Fed has not changed the outlook on interest rate hikes for the coming years is something that clearly has supported the gold and silver prices. We did see a clear pop-up in those prices. It's off its lows. You have seen good buying in the New York session for the precious metal prices. Remember, in last 3 or 4 months, we only have seen the gold prices continue to decline. The high that the gold made in September was at $13.75, and from those kind of levels, we are more than $100 on the lower side. Some bit of a support, as I said, coming in from the fact that the US dollar has declined. The Fed outlook has been unchanged, and that in turn has been supportive for precious metals. On the other side, the crude oil prices have been on a volatile note. Remember, the volumes have been thinning and the markets have just too much to digest. Yesterday, you saw the OPEC monthly report come in, where they have mentioned on how the demand continues strong. The global inventories have been declining, but it is the U.S. output, Canada, Brazil, Kazakhstan, all of these non-OPEC countries have been increasing production. So that is something that they have taken a cognizance of. In the meanwhile, on the charts, the crude oil prices still do look strong until they continue to hold about $60 per barrel. So we are closing this year quite on the positive side, and the markets are anticipating that you will see this stance continue until the first half of 2018. It is only going to be by 2018 second half that you will see a rebalance come in, and of course higher output from non-OPEC countries as well.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Let's shift focus back to the equity space. In the F&O space, remember, very, very interesting news coming in. Despite the sort of sell-off that we saw yesterday post noon time, the FIIs actually went long into the Fed event, because if you take a look at it, they bought about 768 crores in index futures, the 3rd consecutive day that they bought in index futures. And this time they added more longs and covered some shorts as well. So the long exposure is actually 55%. That compares with the series low of 52%. Not just just that, they also sold about 1100 crores in index options, and a majority of that was short additions in index puts. That could very well be also because it's the Bank Nifty weekly options expiry today, but we need to know whether it was the Nifty or the Nifty Bank itself. What was the most interesting point did not come from the FIs, but the domestic institutional investors. They bought 11,600 puts, perhaps protecting themselves on the downside ahead of the Gujarat elections. So that was an interesting data point yesterday. The DIIs, they added about 11,600 long index put contracts. Apart from that, the active options, we had the 10,500 call added about 5.2 lakh shares on the short side, while we saw some put buying at the 9,900 level, sub 10,000. Just protection buying ahead of the Fed, ahead of the Gujarat event. If you take a look at the Nifty Bank weekly options, the spot is at 25,000. The active strikes were 25,300 call, 25,100 call, and 24,700 puts. So those were all the active strikes yesterday.
Okay, Mangalam, thank you so much for that. But with that, it is a wrap on Power Breakfast. From the team and myself, thank you so much for watching.